So I'm here at the depot. Gaz is just climbing up a problem over there. So at some stage he's going to come and join me as we talk for a few questions. You can see, like, it's not that high, but sort of high enough. Whoops! There goes the list of questions. So trying to keep some sort of distance here between. Hey? Yeah, well, well on.
We're live, eh?
We're live now.
Oh, sorry, mate. I didn't realise you were on time. I was just having so much fun.
Anyway, it's quite good to show people, anyone who might be watching.
Emphasising safety.
Safety, yeah.
Safety.
He's actually sitting on my mark.
Yeah, right.
So I do have some questions here that we're going to go through, which hopefully isn't going to get too bogged down in technicalities, because it is basically just climbing up a wall.
But yeah, but it's so much fun.
It is.
More to just going up and down.
It is good fun.
Yeah, side to side sometimes.
So actually, that is. I'm going to change the question. The first question is why it's sort of inexplicably fun to climb here, isn't it? I can't really put my finger on it why it's fun.
Why? I don't know.
It's good exercise.
Yeah,
it's good strengthening.
It's like, absolutely. I mean, it works pretty much all your muscles, including your brain.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Because they are called problems, and you are supposed to stand at the bottom of the problem and try and work out how best to sort of tackle it before you actually.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of people stood at the bottom, almost doing
sort of waving their hands about.
Tai Chi moves, and they're sort of like visualising and reading the route before they even attempt it.
Yeah.
Very powerful tool.
Yeah.
It takes a while to master, but a good tool to use, nevertheless.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see there's like loads of different colours behind us.
So you can see a bit of the centre there. It's quite. I mean, this is one of the biggest ones in the UK. Birmingham depot.
Really good.
Okay. I'm going to sort of ask. Maybe I'm not sure about. I mean, the questions on essentially.
Well, so, I'll chuck it back at you. Say, Bouldering 101, you've never been bouldering before. What would you expect when you walked into the centre?
Okay, so when you turn up, you're going to have to sign. They give you a little iPad to answer some questions on, and you basically have to
sign your life away.
Sign your life away, but show that you're going to be. Say that you're going to be safe on the wall. I'm not going to try and preempt what that's going to be, because obviously that's part of the safety of the centre. But the questions are quite simple.
I guess like any sport, there's always rules involved. So
yeah.
How do they deal with the rules of bouldering? The safety.
Yeah. So, like you were mentioning earlier, that like quite often they have videos on the website. Yeah. I think the depot, you can actually fill out the waiver form before you come along.
It'll save you a good 10 minutes of your life.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea to fill it out.
Actually, that's a really good tip. I mean, if you are deciding that you want to try climbing, then fill out the waiver, at home over a cup of tea or something, because it will save you, a considerable amount of time, especially if there's a few of you or a group, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And also, so the other thing to do is, like, they do offer here, I know they probably do in most centres, they have like I think it's £15, and you get like an induction around the whole centre, so they'll tell you about the grades, about the climbs, about the rules of the climbing.
Every climbing centre I've ever been to is staffed.
Usually excellent, really friendly and
knowledgeable,
helpful.
They know what they're talking about. Listen to them, they're good.
I remember one thing that put me off a bit when I came initially was the shoe size, because as soon as you put on climbing shoes, they're like quite tight, and sort of can be quite uncomfortably tight. So you want them as tight as you can.
I mean, going back to, if you're relatively new to it, don't go throwing hundreds of pounds on expensive downturn climbing shoes. Just hire a pair and see how you get on.
So it costs what, a couple of quid? It's £3 for a hire or something?
So, I mean, some centres with your induction, they'll probably include shoe hire maybe. Yeah. But try some higher shoes. Don't commit yourself to, you know, like I say, you can spend a lot of money on shoes.
And what do you think about chalk? I saw a couple of people just come in now for the first time, and they didn't have any chalk with them.
But I mean, let's talk about what chalk's for. I mean, you know, friction is the goal. Is the goal for climbers. The more friction you've got, the better you're going to stick to holes. And you know, as human beings, we sweat and we get greasy hands. You're less likely to stick on a hole, especially when you get the smaller ones.
Yeah.
So the chalk sort of. Oh, you can probably see the amount of chalk.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got a chalk bag.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit. Yeah. The chalk will dry this up and just aid you with friction. So there's a couple of sorts of chalk. Sort of like chalk balls, like Mr. Jones. I'll show you Jones because I'm embarrassed about mine.
So that's £2.50 for a chalk ball, which you can buy on its own.
You can just see that here.
When you get in, you could just buy a chalk ball.
And
you don't have a
liquid chalk. Have you ever used that?
I have used it. I know that a lot of people do use it. Competition climbers see them flapping their hands, trying to dry it off. It takes a lot of oils off the hand, doesn't it? So
I mean, it does have an alcohol content that evaporates. So I mean, in this current climate, that in itself is a good thing to maybe use liquid chalk.
Yeah. Okay, so then it's really a question of how do you actually go about, like what do you look for on a climb? How can you tell which holes are relevant to the what grades and stuff like that, or what level of climbing?
I mean, you touched on grades there. I mean, you know, everything needs an element of difficulty to make it worthwhile. And with bouldering, we tend to give them a letter and a number, V1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. V1 being relatively easy. Grades are what somebody would consider a V3, somebody might consider a V4 or a V2. So don't really get too bogged down.
No.
I've just done a V3 or I can't do a V4 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Your goal always is just to go away with a big smile on your face.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, coming off not completing, failing is going to be part of that journey.
Sort of part of it.
The failures, it's weird, isn't it? The failures aren't bad.
No.
They're good. They motivate you to come back to the centre of wherever you're climbing and just try again and try again. And every time you fail, it obviously puts you one step closer to your goal. And when you do, you know, as James knows, because I've shared in many of his victories, when you do get to the top, it's just that much sweeter for all those efforts you put into it. Sometimes they're more memorable, aren't they, than the ones you just walk up to straight up. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was gonna mention there that quite often it's not matching the top hold, which is.
Putting a match in the top hole, James, that sounds technical. What you have to explain that.
So matching the top hole is when you finish a problem for an indoor one. It's called topping out outdoors, isn't it? But so when you match it, basically you just put your two hands on the top hole. So that's called a match, and that means you've completed the problem. What I was going to say is quite often you'll come on a bouldering session and you'll be working on a problem and you might only get on one extra hold, and that can be and that can be really satisfying.
We spent hours working on single problems, and you only have so much energy in your tank, don't you, to keep doing those sustained moves. But going back to what I said previously, when you do know the games, what's it like?
Yeah, no, it feels really good, especially like one you've been working on over like weeks. You know, trying to get to the top.
Do you mean months?
Well, the problem is that you do have a limited, because what they tend to do is they will change the problem every couple of months probably. So if you've been working on something and you're getting to the top, getting near the top, and then they go and change it, that can be quite frustrating.
You know what's good about corner though? Everybody just wants you to succeed.
Yeah, no, they do. Everyone's shouting to go on.
You can see that these red things behind me, quite tricky. You'll be falling off it. Somebody come over and you'll just go, what about this? And you do it. You just want to share in that enjoyment, that joy. That's what's so great about climbing. The people around you, the interaction. You come into a room full of positivity, don't you, really?
And quite often what happens is like it's quite a minor change in like a foot position or a handhold that can make the difference between getting to the top and not.
Yeah, or even as simple as starting with a different foot on the same hole, it can make a massive amount of difference. And that's the funny bit, is like it's almost like code breaking. You've got to decipher that route, work out how you started, how you get past the midpoint, or how you, as James said, eventually match it up.
Yeah.
How about we go and have a point at a few holes? And
Point at a few holes?
Point at things, and what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah. So, I'm gonna switch it around so we can come to a wall here. I want, okay, suddenly I'm gonna be the one. Right, so, what I was gonna do is I'm gonna put my climbing shoes on, I think.
So James is as prepared as ever. So James, I noticed there you haven't got laces, you've got Velcro.
So these are Velcro shoes.
Yeah. So are they better than laces, or is it?
Well, it's just a preference really, but I mean, and what the other thing is when you get shoes, like when you first put them on. So I'm a 44 continental size, and then these are 42, so I bought 2 sizes down, and I was a bit worried, like, should I get a 43? And then, I got them online and I thought, well, it's going to be a hassle sending them back. And they were really tight when I got them, but now I can't, they're just perfectly comfortable. And to be fair, they don't last that long. They last like, you've gone through 3 pairs, have you, this year?
Yeah.
And because you've got...
I wear them around the house though.
So you got Scarpa,
Yeah.
and that you were saying that they've got softer...
They're very sticky.
They're really sticky soles, but they're quite soft.
It entirely depends how you're climbing, what you're climbing, how often you're climbing.
Yeah. So I suppose Rock probably wears them up.
Yeah, especially with my bad footwork. Right, James, so what we're looking at here then?
Okay.
So if we look at these white routes.
Yeah. So white is what's a V0? So this is so green is the easiest grade. So these are the easiest. This is what you'd start on to start with. Like when you come into the centre, they'll probably start you on this if you do a thing. Do an induction, and they've got little. So I don't know if you can see, but they've got 2 silver discs here. So you've got to have 2 hands on where the silver discs are, and you've got to put your feet on. You've got to have your feet off the mat to start from. So you have to go like that to start, basically. And then it's a question of going up how you want. Right. So that is called a match, and that's finishing a problem. So this is your green, and that's the easiest you can do.
So James, I can see on the wall there's many different shapes. And
yeah.
Could you talk me through some of the different shapes, maybe?
So these green ones here, so you can see there's massive jugs. These are called jugs, and you see they're massive holes. So you can't fall off them. So that's what you're going to get on the easiest grades, V0. So this here is actually, if it was a handhold, it would be considered a sloper. So we're just going to get an announcement here.
Please adhere to the rule of 6 at all times whilst in the centre. Please do not mix households whilst using the centre, in line with the latest government guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
James, wise words there.
Very wise.
Wise words.
Very wise. So this is called a sloper.
Yeah.
And you can imagine if you're right down here, hanging on that takes some practice. That doesn't come immediately. Here, this would be called a pinch. So you pinch that hold, and that again is something that a hand has to get used to. Here, you'd probably call that a crimp. I mean, that's so. Quite often you lock with a thumb just to lock the hold, but that again that's quite a difficult hold to get hang of. And
so
then
there's one up there, for example, the black one.
You were saying that was a pocket.
Yeah.
So that would be a side pull pocket sort of thing.
With a crimp and a jug and it's got everything going on.
Yeah.
So does the orientation of the hold matter?
Well, yeah, you've got to consider. I mean, that's a lot when you're climbing. Is like you've got to consider body position. So sometimes you can be in a position where you just don't feel secure on the wall at all, and then you move position or you move your hand hold in a different way, and you can just feel completely solid on the wall. So yeah.
So I think it's about time you demo the climbing.
I just did demo.
Demo.
I better demo one that I can do. Or maybe demo one that I can't do.
Yeah,
I did this red last time, so I try that.
Yeah, why not?
I'll go get some short. This is to end it, by the way.
Okay. So you,
what I'm doing is, you can, Gary, you can talk about training. What sort of training might be good for them? Just say a few words.
okay, I'll just...
You can switch. Do you want to switch it around?
No, it's all right. I'm going to film you.
Okay. Go on then.
You got the honours, Mr. James.
Are you going to say something about?
So James is going to climb this red route now. We've tried this a few times.
I did it last time. I don't know. Like, this is literally we've come in.
But you can
come in. We've done what? Half an hour warm up.
Yeah, if that. We've probably done more chatting than climbing.
And I'm going to slip off this and make a right arse of myself.
Yeah.
So
That's the plan, though, isn't it? But if you
enjoy this, anyway.
Yeah, you notice it. He'll have a big smile on his face when he does it. Just before you go, James, I've got to say those words. You can do it.
Yeah.
So the high knee there.